Okay, so what I did when I was talking about VR or voltage across R, I multiplied I with this resistor. But you cannot say that when you are talking about voltage across an inductor, you will multiply this with L. Or when you are talking about voltage across a capacitor, you will multiply with this C. This is what usually students do, which is wrong. This is wrong representation. Students, please make a note of this. Why I am saying this? Because I have seen this, that students, when they are drawing a circuit, so they are writing VR is equal to I into R. So they are applying Ohm's law by writing I into L or I into C, which is absolutely wrong. Okay, when we talk about voltage across a inductor, so this is I am using multiplication sign. Okay, instead of this, when we are talking about voltage across an inductor, we'll be multiplying this with X suffix L. Okay, so this X suffix L was we have just discussed is nothing but inductive reactance. Okay, which is equal to nothing but omega into L or 2 pi f into L. Okay, so now since you have seen that you have this diagram, this phasor diagram, where this is VR, this is VL, and this is V, and this is a 90, this is a right angle triangle. So my hypotenuse square will definitely be equal to my base square plus my perpendicular square. Okay, so we know the individual values. So we'll write here V equal to root over VR is I multiplied by R whole square plus VL we have just seen I into XL. So I into XL whole square. Okay, so they have individually mentioned the value. They have squared them. I is common. So I square when it will go outside the square root, I remaining. So this V will be now I multiplied by R square plus XL square. So this R square plus XL square, we can replace this with Z. So this Z represents impedance of the circuit, where my Z is nothing but root over R square plus XL square. This one. So the impedance of the AC circuit is similar to resistance in a DC circuit. The unit of impedance is anyone? What should be unit of impedance? Anyone? It is nothing but ohms. Always remember they can ask you what is unit of impedance in MCQ. So it is always the unit of impedance, whether it is connected to a RL circuit or RC circuit, it will always be in ohms. Okay. Any problem here, students? You can go through this. I'll clear this part. Okay. You have to just use this right angle triangle and you have to use Pythagoras theorem to find out the value here. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about phase angle. So again, this is a right angle triangle. So let's talk about tan phi, which is nothing but perpendicular upon base. So perpendicular is VL and base is VR. VL, we know this, it is nothing but I multiplied by X suffix L, and it is nothing but I multiplied by R. So I will get cancelled. So you have tan phi as XL by R, or you can write it as omega L by R, or you can write it as 2 pi F into L by R. Okay, so if you want to get phi, you'll take an inverse on both sides. So tan inverse of 2 pi F L by R. Okay, so similar thing they have written, phi is nothing but tan inverse omega L by R. Okay, omega L by R. So you can use this phasor diagram to identify this impedance also, which is coming out to be R square plus XL square whole root. And you can also find out the angle, which is nothing but tan inverse of omega L by R. So L is always given in question, L and R. Omega is equal to 2 pi F. If it is not given, you can directly take it as 50 Hertz. Okay, so if you have the value of R and L, you can find the impedance of the circuit, you can find the phase angle between voltage and current and the other unknown parameters. Okay. Now, based on this, what we got here as cos phi, which was in this case was R by Z. Okay. So when we talk about power factor, very important term, okay, both in terms of concept and they'll ask you also in exam about this. So the power factor of a AC circuit is defined as the cosine of the angle between voltage and current, that is cos phi. So power factor is nothing but cosine of the angle between voltage and current. If this is V and this is I, so if there is an angle phi between them, so cos phi will determine the power factor of this circuit. The power in an AC circuit is equal to product of voltage, current and power factor. So that's why I use the term P equal to V into I into cos phi. What is this cos phi? This is power factor. What is this for power factor? Power factor is nothing but cosine of the angle between voltage and current. This way we have to remember this. Okay. This is again a Viva question. What is power factor? Okay. So when we are talking about an inductor circuit, we say lagging power factor. When we talk about a capacitor, we'll say leading power factor. Okay. So now you can see here impedance, total impedance, as per this, when you will apply Pythagoras theorem, it is R square plus XL square. When you want to know the angle, it is nothing but tan inverse of perpendicular by base, so XL by R. Okay, so if you know this, so cos of this angle is nothing but your power factor. Okay, so if you want to apply directly also, you can get cos phi, cos theta is always based by hypotenuse. So it is R by Z in this case. Okay. Same thing, XL by R. So whether current leads or lags behind the voltage. So here they are saying that this is the case in both. This is true in both the cases, both in case of lag and lead. Okay, so when we are talking about L or C, this you have to remember. Okay, so you will click one photo now. So this is your